Our second presentation will very much elaborate on what I said about the use of fossil fuels even in the future. We will not, get rid of it fully for quite a while. So to make it clean is a key issue. And this is why we invited Dr. Graeme Sweeney from Royal Dutch Shell, where he is now a special advisor on CO2, and he was also formerly the executive vice president for CO2 for many years. I think he spent most of his working life with Shell. So let's hear what we can do with CCS to help to make our energy system more sustainable.
Good morning, András, thank you. As András says, it seems to be my task to reconcile our objectives around a secure energy system to drive welfare with our ambitions for sustainability and our wish to have a substantive reduction in our greenhouse gas emissions over the period out to 2050. And I think I always want us to think about it in that context. It is the ambition for 2050, which is our strategic intentions, which needs to condition what we need to get done by 2030, which is the current political conversation, and sets the framework for action that we need to take over the next number of years. How does this work? The other one, perhaps? No? Okay, so I'm going to talk about CCS as a strategic building block for an integrated low-carbon energy system. First of all, I want to say a little bit about us. We are an official European technology platform, recently readopted under Horizon 2020, and it's a broad range of participants. The Advisory Council will make the decisions, has 25 members, and those are spread across oil and gas, utilities, equipment manufacturers, but from our point of view, crucially also include significant representatives from the academic and research communities and from social society, NGOs, and the European Trade Unions Congress. So our role is to give advice to the Commission, the Parliament, and on occasion the Council of Ministers on matters relevant to this technology set. And our objective is to make it available as an option for the low-carbon energy system. And we want to do that because we believe that this is of crucial importance in two senses. One, whether you can actually execute a plan that reconciles those issues. And two, whether you can afford to execute the plan that reconciles those issues. Fundamentally, you will see that we say we always need all of the above, as Secretary Monitz is keen to say in the States. We need renewables, we need efficiency, we need demand-side response, we need smart grids, we need all of those tools, and by the way, we shall need CCS. This is a story which is generally told by all of the high-level commentators. Those of you who followed the story will have seen that the IPCC has come to the same conclusion. Deep decarbonisation of the economy isn't only a power sector issue, but for other industries which have intrinsically embedded emissions will need CCS if it's to be successful. The International Energy Agency has said so, arguing on occasions that without CCS, the cost of decarbonising by 2050 may be up to 75% more. I'll come back to what I think that looks like for Europe at a later point in this conversation. The New Climate Economy report says the same. The IDRI report says the same. Much of the work that comes out of the ZEP and many of its members also says the same. It's also critically important that we are doing this now because after a long conversation, we have included CCS in the 2030 framework. It's then crucial that what is done as a result of that reflects what we need to do by that timescale to get 2050 right. Helpful then also to say, if we plan to reconcile the use of fossil fuels in the energy system with our decarbonisation objectives, there should at least be some evidence that this is happening. Our community has generally struggled to provide that evidence, but that all changed this year. One of the things that I would like you to reflect on is that in North America, there is no clear set of statements about their intentions to reconcile these matters. And yet, it is in North America that we actually see the first CCS project on a coal-fired power plant on an integrated value chain basis. I was privileged to be at Boundary Dam in Canada in October when they started this up. So for those of you who doubt that it can be done, there's an invitation from Sask Power. It's go and see it operating. Seeing is believing. Our view is that, having been those who first expressed the need to do this, we should be a little bit concerned that we are now lagging somewhat behind. The United States already has activities in operation in the biospace, Archer Daniel Midland. It has clear plans to start up at Kemper County, Mississippi, in the middle of next year. And we are unlikely to have a completed plant here in Europe on that timescale. Nonetheless, we have lots of encouragement. The Peterhead project and the White Rose projects are subject to significant encouragement from the UK government inside the UK, and the White Rose project recently received, under the so-called NER 300 funding, the €300 million of additional support. The Don Valley project in the UK continues, and of crucial importance to us in a European sense is that the negotiations that are ongoing for the road project in the Netherlands reach a successful conclusion. But all of that is possible. We therefore need to start the process of imagining what sort of policies at the European level and at member state level, which are getting traction, need to be implemented if we get CCS embedded in the 2030 framework's delivery process. The integrated roadmap, of course, setting the context for that. And that, under the set plan, must move into an execution phase under the European Energy Union plan. We need to get our mindset around execution. And that for an energy plan and for research and innovation, it isn't only about the research that we do, but it is also critically about the activities to bring innovation to the marketplace and create the value chain. The case for CCS in Europe is clear, reducing the long-term goals. It is part of the lowest cost decarbonisation route. It is the only option for a number of places. And it is a technology that supports a holistic and balanced energy system. The core point is that the distinction from an energy management system is not between renewables and other things. It's actually between dispatchable energy and non-dispatchable energy. We've heard a little bit just now about dispatchable bio being part of an energy system. Dispatchable hydro is part of that energy system. All of those should feature in the solution. The issue is you need enough dispatchable activity in your system to counterbalance those things that are not dispatchable, which you must take when they're available. Given all of this, we need to continue our programs of research. We need to get costs down. Of course we do. There's plenty of evidence that advanced research to get things to readiness level 4 will be critically important. We need to provide resources to do that. We give some examples, new solvents, chemical looping, and the fact that we need to focus on how we can find utilization of CO2 options which are genuinely scalable in the context of balancing an energy system and the decarbonisation goal. And that needs to be beyond the matter of enhanced oil recovery on its own. It would drive down costs. By the way, Sask Power already say that having built just one, with no technological improvement, just the engineering learning, they will be 30% cheaper when they build the second plant. So that also tells us we need to have these pieces work in that kind of way. We need to find out how CO2 can become a feedstock and all of the rest of those things. We need to get into the demonstration and into innovation and take value to market. We know that we need post-combustion capture technologies. We know that bio-CCS is going to be critically important. We know that that could lead to carbon-negative solutions in this space. It'll all need to be piloted. So we need an integrated plan that focuses all the way through to value in the market. And we will need all of this in order to make the right level of technology deliver the right kind of value for society. Market take-up is going to be crucial. We need to develop tools which can deliver this low-cost solution. And I will say this several times, but the CO2 storage in a pan-European network is probably the European project we should be focusing on. This is the delivery of a place where those who capture can put the CO2. If that doesn't exist, it won't matter how good you are at capturing, it won't happen. This will need to be a focus of a collective effort to deliver a system and a network of appropriate size. We need to understand all of the integration aspects that come out of this complex system, and we need to develop those tools now and have a sizable activity by 2030 if we want to be big in 2050. So we need to be putting 200 million tonnes a year underground in 2030 as a minimum aspiration, 4 of the 40 points in the plan. We will need support to do this. Contribution. So this is a complex chart, but we'll move through it, I hope, with some clarity. Along the bottom is the specific CO2 emissions in your system. They can be viewed indeed as also part of a timeline. So the ambition at the end is that we must meet the 85% decarbonisation target set by the European Union. On the vertical axis, we have the relative levelised cost of delivery. We have 3 lines. You'll see they all look pretty similar out to 2030. You might expect that. We don't have serious integration problems until then. After that, you see the top line is no CCS and no storage for electricity, however generated. And that tells you that for Europe, we see it being some 50% more expensive than we are now. If we add storage, and that's clearly a research priority, we should add storage. The storage we've put in here is cheap. It's 150 euros a kilowatt. It still doesn't close the gap. It makes it cheaper, as you would have expected. You put CCS into the system and the cost comes down again. It's part of the lowest form. Why is that? It's because at the margin, the non-dispatchable renewables utilization is very, very, very low, and therefore the capital cost is very, very high. And the integration of the system is better if you undertake it with the CCS. This system has $200 a kilowatt for solar, no constraints on the amount of land consumed for renewables, whether it's wind or solar, and proper weather patterns put in to allow the utilization to occur. It still says, with all of those constraints removed, the lowest cost solution contains the additional component of CCS. And we say that that is evidence there should be policy parity in an all-of-the-above strategy. Policy parity for the delivery of this stuff. So, as impacted by other sectors, of course, we know that it's crucial that we integrate dispatchable and non-dispatchable energy sources to create the outcome. The smart grid will be vital in that. It's part of a solution that deals with the intermittency, and it is also the process that gets us to a low cost around the whole of the play. We should also recognise that the ETS, whilst it's an important long-term tool, is currently not robust enough to deliver any of these changes. The changes we're getting in the energy system are broadly being delivered by tools deployed outside of it. We should improve it, but we will need other policy tools in order to deliver. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Graeme. Thank you for this lot of food for thought. I think we learned in a short time quite a lot about not only the potential, but the needs, both in policy and in investment opportunities to make this technology indeed introduced in the practice. What links the first two presentations, I think, is indeed the issue of who should cover and how demonstrations, the need for these good examples, the need for proving the commercial feasibility, what in Canada has now started so nicely, and I really hope that also in Europe, also together with the investment package, which is now the issue of the day, we can go ahead on it.